Kids really are monsters, constant yelling, crying, making a big mess, and giving you a large headache that you can't seem to recover from. While I am joking, a lot of monsters in mythology are described as children, like the black-eyed kids, Mylings, and Melonheads. Melonheads are one of my favorite mythological creatures. The concept is so disturbing and heartbreaking. I don't know why there isn't a Melonheads movie made yet. The legend started in Kirtland, Ohio. It states that during the Great Depression of the 1930s, an orphanage in the middle of the woods opened up. Now back then, there was no paperwork or anything. You could literally just eat your child right on the doorsteps and the orphanage will just take them. The orphanage was ran by a twisted man named Dr. Crow, who locked the kids in cages and did awful experiments on them. He put water into the kids' heads, which caused deformities and made their heads very large, which is the reason for their name. I don't know how that actually works. After years of abuse, the kids escaped and burned down the orphanage. Whether Dr. Crow survived and continued doing experiments or he died in a fire depends on the person you ask. The kids then started going into the woods because they felt they were too deformed to end up living a happy life in society. Some people say that some Melonheads lived in a circus as some sort of freak show, but they ended up living in the woods, and that they wanted to be left alone, and if someone goes too deep in the woods, the Melonheads would kill and even eat that person. People have claimed to have seen the Melonheads from the 1940s to the present, which how do those kids live that long and were still small makes no sense. Maybe people are seeing a deformed or sick animal, or they're just completely lying because they want a little bit of attention. Either way, stories of the Melonheads are still being told in Ohio, Michigan, Connecticut, and even in Florida, and it scares people. It states that 10 to 20 inmates escaped after the asylum burned down, and now they live in the woods. The other Connecticut variation is more supernatural. They are seen as products of witchcraft. Both stories share the idea that the Melonheads live in a roadway known by locals as Dracula Drive, but on the maps, it is called Belvid Street.